So in today's video, we're going to discuss how to chest press without fucking your shoulders. People get this so wrong and so common all too often because they want to build a big chest, so they'll move a load of weight. The problem is if you don't actually press it with your chest, you end up using your shoulders, you will end up battering your shoulders. I found this, it's been painful, I've overcome it, I fixed my shoulders, and now the chest is starting to grow and we're moving some nice load. This is 90 pounds, not kilos. I'm sure you can probably imagine that. That'd be fucking disgusting heavy weight on this. So that's what we're going to explain in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Tom Sergi. Welcome. I run the Gorilla Platoon, and this is the style of results we get. This is why I find I'm fairly credible to talk about this stuff. With my promise to you in this video, by the end you'll know how to build a chest and keep your shoulders healthy, most importantly. So let's roll into our video example. So mistakes people are making when they are chest pressing is they'll come down to the bottom, they'll come down too fast and not really control the load at the bottom, and then they'll drive back up and they will think about just getting the weight from A to B back up towards the top. And what they will imagine is the rep is finished when the weight can't go any further up. The problem with that is people will move their shoulders forward. If you move the shoulders forward, you end up putting tension on the shoulders. Now, what's important to understand with the pecs is the pecs actually start here. They originate from here around your sternum bone. They run across like here, and they insert onto your upper arm. So when we're thinking about training our chest, the goal really is to drive our bicep towards our pec, because then you're bringing the origin and the insertion together. Likewise, on the way down, you're thinking of pulling apart the origin and the insertion in order to get that contraction. So what people get wrong is if they press the load from their hands, the tension's going to be on their shoulders. I want you to try and flip the script and imagine that anything from above your hands has been cut off and that you just want to drive your biceps across your body. So now, as you actually go to do the movement itself, when you set up, feet want to be fairly pulled back because you want to be able to drive against those. You want to create that arch and that open your what's known as your thoracic part of your spine and open that up, giving yourself thoracic extension. Now, when you go and descend through the movement, I want you to imagine you're going to pull apart your pecs with the load. You come down, pull them apart, pause, and then you're going to drive your upper arms back together. Notice how the shoulders always stay back. This doesn't mean pin your shoulder blades in and don't move them. They still need to be able to move freely. The scapula needs to be able to move freely. So with that, keep them back, but allow the scapula to move freely. Your only mission is to drive your upper arms towards the center of your body. And that way you will never put pressure on the shoulder itself. Now, if you also look at my arm path when I come down, here, my arm is not directly out wide at 90-degree angle. It's slightly tucked in. In some cases, you can probably get away with tucking it in a little bit more. I just find this to be the sweet spot and the comfortable point for me. Now, with this, you'll also notice the dumbbells are not completely square on either, because if they were, I would come out completely at right angle, and in which case I'd then be like grinding my shoulder against the edge of the housing, where if I can just tuck it in slightly, the ball and socket joint is going to move a little bit more freely. And that's honestly one of the main things people get wrong. They'll shoulder press with their arms out at right angle, they'll press with their arms out at right angle, and then with that, you just end up grinding your shoulder against the housing. But because they're big movements, shoulder press, incline, and flat dumbbell press, you're going to move a lot of load. Of course you are. So you're going to fight through the awkwardness and the sticking points of the joint itself, and you're just going to end up battering and bruising it. Of course you are, because you're grinding it in a place that it doesn't really want to sit. Where you get around that, honestly, just tuck the elbows in just a little bit. You'll notice you'll get a little bit more range of motion. As well, if you try to pull back from here, you're limited to here. If you bring your arm down a little bit, you can get your arm all the way back here. Now, with that, the dumbbell wants to come down in line with the chest, and then you've hit the bottom point of the rep. But just that subtle tuck of the elbows in by twisting the hands a little bit closer towards each other is going to make all the difference. And that's what's really going to help not fuck your shoulders up. So when you're doing the movement, think of it like this. Chest is always going to stay up. You're going to turn the dumbbells in slightly. You're going to keep the elbows in slightly. And you're going to think about pulling your pecs apart with your upper arm, bringing it away from you. Everything from the elbow above is kind of irrelevant. It's more, where is my arm in this position, and making sure we get the arm path. Now, once you've pulled the load apart, remembering that this exercise is hardest at the bottom. Because as I come down now, the joints are furthest away from each other. The muscle has to hold it in place. Then as I press back up towards the top, the resistance at the top is pretty minimal because my joints are now stacked. So with that, you're just thinking about pulling your pecs apart, holding for a second, keep the tension at the bottom, and then driving your upper arms together. Think about driving your biceps back across your body to get that contraction. And then make sure your last rep looks something like that so it's hard. See if you got another one, and then you're finished. And that, honestly, if you nail these points, keeping it simple, you'll grow a good chest and your shoulders will be absolutely fine. So if you found this useful, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.